Are you a fan of the TV series Survivor? It's a reality game show that perhaps you've watched. The contestants are put in a remote wilderness condition and they have to survive there. And along the way they have challenges where they are competing for money and prizes. Sometimes these challenges are based on knowledge or history or practices that are indigenous to the region where that particular series is being filmed. There they compete for supplies to survive in their primitive camps. They compete for rewards. Sometimes they compete for that also precious immunity. Because the premise of this show is a progressive elimination, allowing the contestants to vote off the island one another at tribal council. And the goal, of course, is to be the sole survivor. So popular is that term, voted off the island, that it has become commonplace. A reference to getting rid of others that you don't want to deal with any longer. Those who maybe, in your opinion, aren't pulling their weight or contributing to the good of the body. Maybe someone that you have a difference of opinion with or a disagreement. Maybe it's someone who is a threat to you and you just as soon sacrifice them for your own safety. Now, I'm not sure the origin of the idea of voting someone else off of the island. I'm not sure where it comes from, what region that might have been discovered in, but it seems like that concept is universal. It seems like across all peoples and across all times, we've always had the inclination to vote others off of our island. It seems to have already taken hold in the New Testament church when Paul is writing to the Romans in Romans 14. There, writing to the house churches in Rome, Paul addresses issues of conflict and division among the believers. They seem to be dividing themselves and taking sides over foods and festivals. Was it acceptable or not acceptable? Whether to eat meat or to abstain from meat? Was this a holy day to be observed or a day like any other day? Some see this division rising from inconsequential differences. Some would say they were making a mountain out of a molehill. Others say these are not inconsequential differences, but rather matters of deep theological weight. But aren't all of our divisions and disagreements with one another when someone else is wrong and we're right, aren't those always deep theological issues of great importance to us? Paul seems to agree that any difference, even if it were raised by a question of bread or wafer, wine or juice, contemporary or traditional, any difference can be dangerous. For within that difference there is potential to separate the body of Christ, to destroy unity of our congregation, to distract ourselves as the body of Christ, as the church of Christ, from our main mission and focus. You see, Paul is about ready to go to Rome. He, when he gets there, is going to collect an offering to support his mission work for the gospel's spread to new lands. He knows that if there is division among the body, the offering will suffer, and then so will the work of their mission together. Differences can become dangerous because they offer us the potential risk and opportunity to pass judgment on others, to judge one another, to judge those who disagree with us. Several times in this short passage of Romans, Paul speaks against passing judgment on others, or maybe voting them off of the island. Making central the message of this passage, judge not. Judge not. Herein is the challenge: to rise above reality TV shows, to rise above popular culture, and even above human nature, to judge one another and just cast someone off the island, vote them off. There's a difference with them. Our call is to rise as the body of Christ to our true identity. And if we work together, if we dwell together very long, we'll know that that calls for us hearing the teaching of Christ in Matthew 18 on forgiveness, where, along with Peter, we are all challenged to widen our practice of forgiveness in relating to one another. Peter is attempting to be progressive, as he suggests that maybe he should forgive someone up to 7 times, that mystical number of perfection. Jesus says no, but rather 70 times 7. Jesus did not literally mean for us to keep count and make sure we didn't miss one, and if we ever hit that magic number of 490, well then all's fair. But rather, Jesus was giving us an expression that is used to stretch the mind and spirit of all of us. When it comes to forgiveness, there is no limit. We must rise. We must rise to our call as the body of Christ and maintain focus on our mission, the task at hand. How may our divisions and lack of unity be a barrier as it was threatening to become in Rome, and their role in sharing in the spread of the gospel? Our very existence, our survival, if you will, depends on us rising above passing judgment on one another and voting one another off of the island based on our differences and perceived self-preservation. The call of Romans is, judge not one another. In fact, Paul goes a little bit farther in the epistle to the Philippians in talking about how we as believers are to relate to one another when he says, regard others as better than yourself. A story is told of a once great monastic order that had dwindled down to 5 monks, all over 70 years of age. They huddled together in despair in a decaying monastery. Clearly, their order was dying. The old abbot one day went to meet a friend of his, a rabbi. He sought advice of the old rabbi on how to save his monastery and his order. The rabbi could only commiserate the abbot's misery. I know how it is, the rabbi said. It seems that the Spirit has gone out of the people. No one attends synagogue faithfully anymore. Together they wept. Together they read the Torah. They embraced. And when the abbot was ready to depart, he asked the rabbi, is there nothing you have to say? Any advice you can give me to help save my brothers, to help save my dying order? The rabbi said, no, I'm very sorry. I have nothing to advise you, nothing to say. The abbot turned to leave, and the rabbi said, there is one more thing. There is one more thing. One of you are the Messiah. The abbot returned to the monastery. The brothers were waiting his return. Well, what did the rabbi have to say? The abbot said he couldn't help. There is nothing he could say to help. We read the Torah, we cried, but there were no answers. But he did say something rather confusing. He told me as I was leaving that one of us is the Messiah. I don't understand that. Maybe it's something from Jewish mysticism, but I just don't get it. In the weeks that followed, the monks asked themselves, could it be possible? Which one would it be if one of us really is the Messiah? Maybe it would be the abbot. He's been our leader for generations, faithfully leading and guiding us. Probably it would be the abbot. But maybe it would be Brother Thomas. When you get to know him, he really is a man of light, a true holy man. Maybe it would be Brother Thomas. But certainly it couldn't be Brother Jonathan, the crotchety old guy that he is. But when you get past his tough, gruff exterior, have you ever noticed that Brother Jonathan is almost always right? Maybe it could be Brother Jonathan, but not Brother Philip. He's so passive. He's really a nobody. But have you ever noticed how Brother Philip turns out at just the right moment? When he's really needed, he shows up. Isn't that what a Messiah is supposed to do? Maybe Brother Philip is the Messiah. Each ask themselves, could it be me? It couldn't possibly be me. I know myself too well. I'm just an ordinary individual with struggles like anyone else. Surely I am not the Messiah. They continued to contemplate this way over the weeks, and they began to treat one another, with extraordinary respect on the off chance that maybe he was the Messiah. And on the off chance that perhaps each individual was the Messiah, he treated himself with greater respect. Well, this went on, and as time went by, more people came to visit.